Hello there, very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're watching Smart24 TV. We drive your business, and my name is Anthony Sebale, and I am your host. This is, of course, the number one show when it comes to your daily dosage of financial market news. The financial markets are, of course, some of the most attractive investments that you can make passively. And so we bring you the latest content from all over the globe into, of course, the region as well as the domestic financial markets. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Smart24 TV, and you can also watch us live on YouTube at Smart24 TV Live. And the show, of course, is brought to you by Altex East Africa. Altex is a stock exchange licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, and with Altex, we can say under the ZABU initiative, my money, my future. Now, how do you do this? You can simply dial *292#, and following the prompts, you will be able to either buy or sell or even learn more about their products there. They do have exchange traded funds on the biggest treasury bonds in East Africa, in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Now, you can buy these bonds starting with as little as 15,000 shillings off your mobile money wallet and transfer these funds onto Altex East Africa. Now, the markets at Altex open at 8:15 and close at 3 p.m. Altex East Africa, they're saying you can do something new. Of course, let's get right into the business of the stocks here. Generally speaking, looking across Africa, there was a kind of a bullish market. When you look at Johannesburg Stock Exchange, Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, quite good indicators of better performance this week. But basically looking at the East African stocks, there was a little bit of mix in performance, with the Uganda Securities Exchange All Share Index depreciating slightly, looking at the All Share Index of the Nairobi Securities Exchange, on the other hand, as well, dropping a few points here and there. But starting off with the Uganda Securities Exchange, this exchange currently operates under the jurisdiction of the Capital Markets Authority Act, and currently we have 18 companies that are there for investment. Now, on the second day of trading at the Uganda Securities Exchange, only 3 equities participated in trading. These were Stanbic Bank Uganda, MTN Uganda, and Wumeme. And the day ended, fortunately, with 4 gainers and about 1 loser, just 1 loser who lost some value on the market. Now, Equity Bank Limited, the most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, with close to about 5.12 trillion market capitalization, came in as the topmost gainer, with a total gain of 1.1% in share price there, followed by East Africa Breweries Limited and KCB Group, as well as Centum Investments Limited there. Now, Equity Group Holdings, remember, hasn't been that active on the exchange, but in terms of value, we consider it one of the most valuable stocks in the East African capital markets region or space. Currently, the company has close to about 5.12 Ugandan shillings, trillion shillings, that is on the Uganda Securities Exchange. And as per yesterday's trades, they had a 1.1% gain up to about 1,350.18 Ugandan shillings. East African Breweries Limited, on the other hand, appreciated 0.99% up to 5,247.44 Ugandan shillings. KCB Group also did appreciate 0.53% up to 1,126.14 Ugandan shillings. Centum Investments also did gain about 0.46% up to 257.66 Ugandan shillings. On the losing side, unfortunately, only Jubilee Holdings Limited stock was over here losing.
Check one, two, bang,
about 3.38% as well, down to 5,475.7 shares. Now, in terms of trading, currently, when you look at the volumes here, Stanbic Bank Uganda had the biggest volume market, recording close to 40,800 traded shares for this particular
Bang.
It was followed
Check
by
one,
MTN
check one, two,
Uganda
check. Bang.
Meme at 15,400. The Uganda Securities Exchange listings. And currently, in the last 3 months, they are still maintaining the #1 position in terms of the most traded on stocks on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, within this period, we are literally talking about 62.2 million shares valued at 1.41 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, if a stock is costing as little as 21 shillings, and you can have close to about 1.41 billion turnover from 21 shillings, that means that's a very good stock. That's a very active stock. That is something you can consider even on a short-term basis. I know there are very many speculators who actually watch the capital markets and just come in to get those small gains that come along the way. This could be a good stock for you as well. With this kind of activity, definitely I would agree. I wouldn't agree more on that point. Now, when you look at MTN Uganda, on the other hand, MTN Uganda stock has been stagnant for quite some time now at 180 shillings. However, MTN currently still holds 4.03 trillion Ugandan shillings of value on the Uganda Securities Exchange, making it the third most valuable on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, with their trade yesterday of close to about 18,700 shares, they accrued a total of just 3.37 million shares on average there on the Uganda Securities Exchange that was traded. Now, their shares outstanding currently are 22.4 billion shares at 4.03 trillion Ugandan shillings. Recent performance of the of MTN Uganda has been, I could say there's a hiatus or a pause in how the stocks are moving on MTN Uganda, because when you look at the graphical representation of their stock since November 2022, there's a flat line on their stock. So meaning much as there is activity, and in terms of investments and the activities, they are coming in the third place in the last 3 months. However, there is still the challenge of the value addition, and this is something very many shareholders would really want to look out for, especially when it comes to stocks that are domestically listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange. There's still a little bit laxity in price, and the movements haven't been that significant over the past couple of months and weeks as well. In the last 3 months, however, they are still the third most traded on stock, coming behind Stanbic Bank and Wumeme at the moment, with about a total volume of 23.1 million shares that have been traded in this period, valued at 4.17 billion. Of course, in turnover, they come past the Stanbic stock, which is at 1 billion, or just over about 1 billion. That means, of course, they do have a much higher price, and that means bigger gains, even with smaller price movements. So you definitely can invest in MTN Uganda for a longer term view. MTN has just made a year on the stock exchange, and of course it was a very interesting initial public offer last year, but one in 2021 December, coming in as an electronic IPO, the one of a kind electronic IPO that we have had in East Africa. And so there was a lot of new investors who came on board due to MTN stock, and these continue to get to, of course, invest in other companies as well for the very first time, which is quite interesting for many people who are enthusiasts of the stock exchange here, especially in Uganda. Now, away from MTN Uganda, Wumeme still recorded a volume of 15,400 shillings, and the price is stuck still at 300.0 Ugandan shillings per share for the Wumeme stocks. Now, currently, Wumeme still holds 487 billion market capitalization, and representing about 2.33% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. At the moment, they do have they traded 15,400 shares valued at 4.62 million. They're one of the biggest pricings when it comes to the Uganda listings at 300 shillings per share. And the company's stock price has been rising ever since December last year, when the company was able to issue a notice to the public that it will not be renewing their concession agreement with the government of Uganda to serve for 20 years that are going to expire in 2025 in the month of March. Following that announcement, contrary to what we would expect, many people started buying stock in Umeme, and consequent of that, there was a high demand of the stock, and that, of course, did not agree in terms of the supply. The supply was still limited, and that, of course, led to the rise in price currently that we have witnessed. Shareholders can be highly optimistic because Umeme has accrued 7% over the past 4 weeks, and this is the best on the Uganda Securities Exchange. So they're coming on top in terms of year to date, they're coming on top in terms of their monthly performance, and that definitely means a big picture for the companies, rather the investors as well, for this particular stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange. They also have the biggest turnover in the last 3 months, which is about close to 6.1 billion Ugandan shillings. Stories, of course, in different media papers and so on have been, of course, getting their attention to Umeme, given the fact that the company has gained close to 9% since its initial public offer. So shareholders who invested way earlier still are getting more and more gain on their stocks, and it can't get any better for now. And that's it, of course, from the different equities that traded on the Uganda Securities Exchange. But in summary, we had about close to 74,900 shares traded on the stock market, and ended with an 8.8 million turnover as well. The all-share index climbed 5.95 points up to 1,217 points, and the local company index did maintain its value at 274.1 points. Let's get to the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Here, very closely monitoring the busiest stock exchange is, of course, your number one station, Smart24 TV. And my name is Anthony. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Smart24 TV, and as well check out Alltex East Africa. Now, at Nairobi Securities Exchange, things were not as spiced up as usual. We had, well, a good number of equities participate, 49 in total, in the trading on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. However, the day ended with 22 gainers and over close to 20 losers on the market. Now, East African Portland Cement this time round led the gainers with a total gain of 9.84% up to 6.7%. He was followed closely by the HFC, that is the Housing Finance Company Limited, which is a property developer as well, and a dealer in the mortgage industry there in Kenya at a 7.03% gain. Sanlam Kenya as well gained 5.85%, appearing amongst the top 5 gainers, followed by IGADS at a 5.56% gain as well. On the losing side, Uchumi Supermarkets had a rough day, coming out last with an end of day price depreciation of 10%, down to 0.18 Kenyan shillings, and East African Cables at 8.16% loss, whereas the East Longhorn Publishers Company lost close to 4.46%, and Nairobi Business Ventures about 3.38%. Now, Kenya Power and Lighting Company recorded the biggest volume this time round. Well, there's been a lot of fuss about Kenya Power and Lighting Company, just like Umeme on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Seems like the power distribution companies are taking over the stock exchanges in East Africa. Of course, that could be explained by quite a number of factors, which I would not get into. But Kenya Power and Lighting Company led the biggest movers on the market in Nairobi, with a total of close to 4.76 million shares traded, and 3.6 million were recorded from Safaricom, which came in the 3rd place this time round. I&M Holdings recorded about 294,500 shares on the market. Now let's get to look at Kenya Power and Lighting Company, because there seems to be something really that the Kenyan investors here are interested in. Now, this is a company, first of all, that is engaged in the distribution, transmission, and retail of electricity purchased in bulk from the Kenya Electricity Generating Company Limited, the independent power producers, as well as Tanzania Electric Supply company there. The company's stock currently is the 29th most valuable in terms of market capitalization, with a size of 3.08 billion Kenyan shillings. That's currently representing 0.1555% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market. And that means they did appreciate by 0.02 points. That, of course, regardless, the trading on the company has gone up in the past 3 months, and currently they're the third most traded on stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this morning session of the financial markets. My name is Anthony. You remember to catch the show every day at 10 a.m. and check out Alltex East Africa, and give you, of course, a touch of the treasury bond market in East Africa. By simply dialing *292#, you can be able to buy and sell treasury bonds across East Africa at the best interest rates. Of course, I had to mention, of course, about the U.S. markets. If you are interested in the U.S. markets, check out Jerome Powell's speech last night, of course, on the different issues there concerning what the central bank in the US is actually getting ahead of. My name is Anthony. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye for now.